Today, this man runs a company worth billions, a utility as essential to modern life as electricity. But 40 years ago, he was a fourth grader digging through construction waste, scavenging copper scraps just to survive. His name is Eric Yuan, and the distance between that pile of scrap metal and ringing the opening bell at the NASDAQ wasn't just measured in miles or money. It was measured in the sheer will required to secure one specific H-1B visa after a border rejected him 8 separate times. This is a story about the American dream in its rawest form. In the next 10 minutes, we are going to dissect 3 pivotal chapters. First, how a grueling 10-hour train ride across China didn't just test a relationship, it sparked the idea for a global revolution. Second, the bureaucratic nightmare of 8 separate visa rejections and the specific legal key that finally unlocked his potential. And finally, the moment he walked away from a massive salary to take a billion-dollar gamble against the very giants he used to work for. Just a quick reminder, if you appreciate this in-depth content, please take a moment to like and subscribe. It helps us bring you more. Now, on with the story. To truly understand Eric Yuan, we have to go back to 1987. Eric was a freshman at the Shandong University of Science and Technology. But his biggest problem wasn't calculus, it was love. He was in a deeply committed relationship with a young woman named Sherry. She would eventually become his wife. But at the time, she lived far away. To visit her, Eric had to endure a journey that would break most people. It was a 10-hour train ride, swaying for 10 hours straight. He did this trip twice a year. It was agonizing. Most people would just complain about the commute. Eric, he analyzed it. He spent those 10 agonizing hours staring out the window, daydreaming. He didn't want a faster train. He wanted the train to disappear entirely. He began to imagine a device, a portal, a magical black box that would let him see Sherry and talk to her as if they were in the same room. At the time, this was science fiction, but that desire, born out of pure physical exhaustion and romantic longing, was the spark. Right there, in that crushed crowd, the seed of Zoom was planted. Fast forward to 1994. Eric is now working in Japan. He attends a keynote speech that changes his life forever. The speaker is Bill Gates. Gates spoke about the information superhighway and the dot-com boom. Eric sat in the audience, mesmerized. He decided, right then and there, to move to America. In 1995, he applied for a U.S. visa. He was prepared. He had the skills. He had the drive. And he was rejected. Why? It wasn't a criminal record. It wasn't a lack of education. It was a typo. His business card listed him as a consultant. The immigration officials at the embassy interpreted this vague title to mean he was a part-time contractor without stable employment. They labeled him a flight risk. He was devastated. But he fixed the error and applied again. Denied. He waited months, applied a third time, denied. For 2 years, his life was paralyzed. Most people give up after the first no, maybe the second. But Eric Yuan was rejected 8 separate times. This moment highlights something crucial. Talent alone isn't enough. You need reliable legal support to unlock the door. It's a reminder of how fragile the immigration process can be. I'm genuinely curious. Have you ever lost a big opportunity just because of a tiny technicality or a paperwork error? Tell me your horror story in the comments. Finally, on the 9th attempt, the breakthrough happened. He secured an H-1B visa, sponsored by a young, up-and-coming startup called WebEx. That H-1B visa was the key. It didn't just give him physical entry to the country, it unlocked his potential. He arrived in Silicon Valley in 1997. He spoke very little English. He was actually embarrassed by his accent, but he spoke the language of code fluently. He joined WebEx as one of its first 20 hires. He put his head down and worked, driven by gratitude for finally being in the game. His hard work paid off. WebEx grew massive and was eventually acquired by Cisco Systems for $3.2 billion. So, by 2007, Eric wasn't just an engineer anymore. He was a corporate leader. He was a vice president at the tech giant. He also achieved a personal milestone. He became a naturalized U.S. citizen in 2007. This mattered deeply. It meant stability for his family. It meant he was no longer at the mercy of a visa renewal. It meant he was free. By 2011, Eric had achieved the American dream. But professionally, he was miserable. He saw that the world was shifting, and WebEx, the baby he helped build, was becoming a dinosaur. The connection was slow, the audio was choppy, and the screen sharing didn't work on mobile phones. Eric would visit customers and leave feeling embarrassed because they hated the product. He did what any loyal leader would do. He pitched a rebuild to Cisco. He told the executives, "We need to burn this legacy code down and start from scratch for the cloud." And in a moment, they surely regret, Cisco said no. They told him the market was crowded. They didn't see the need to fix what was making them money. Eric had a choice: stay in the safe job with the golden handcuffs, collect his millions, and be unhappy, or bet on himself. In 2011, at the age of 41, he left Cisco. Cisco said no, just like the embassy did. But this time, with his citizenship secured, he had the freedom to fight back. Be honest with me, you are a vice president. You have a massive salary. You have kids to feed. Would you really quit that safety to start a company in a market that everyone said was already full? It takes insane belief in yourself to do that. Let me know below. Would you have taken the risk? He took 40 engineers with him. They trusted him that much. They started Zoom in a shabby office. It was a far cry from Cisco HQ. But they had a mission. Eric's philosophy was simple yet revolutionary. If we make customers happy, we'll be happy. He obsessively focused on the user experience. He famously used to personally email every single customer who canceled their subscription to ask them why. He would jump on calls with random users to fix bugs. He wasn't a CEO, he was a problem solver. The growth was steady, quiet, efficient. Then, in 2019, Zoom went public. Overnight, the man rejected 8 times became a billionaire. But his biggest challenge was yet to come. In 2020, the pandemic hit. The world shut down. Suddenly, schools, governments, and businesses needed a lifeline. We didn't turn to the giants. We turned to Eric's platform. Look at these numbers. December 2019, 10 million daily meeting participants. April 2020, 300 million. Zoom became a verb. We didn't video chat anymore. We Zoomed. It kept businesses running. It kept students learning. And most importantly, it allowed families separated by quarantine, just like Eric was separated from Sherry all those years ago, to see each other's faces. Today, Eric Yuan is worth over $5 billion. He is one of the wealthiest people on the planet. But when we look at his story, we shouldn't just see the money. We see a man who, driven by long-distance love, sought a solution, not just for himself, but for the world. He created software that united millions of people when they needed it most. Rejection is just a test of your conviction. As his story proves, the world eventually steps aside for the person who simply refuses to quit. The story you've just seen is a powerful answer to the question, what drives someone to leave everything behind and reshape the world with their vision? This series proudly presented by the law offices of Chris M. Ingram, celebrates the courage, innovation, and determination of immigrants who transform history. Subscribe and join us as we continue to honor the enduring impact of immigrant ambition.